This video was sponsored by Rocket Money.
I don't give a flying into a rolling donut about what Al Pacino thinks.
Some people go to leather bars for pleasure, and then there's Al Pacino who goes for, research. Cruising is a 1980 erotic thriller written and directed by William Friedkin, but loosely based on a novel by New York Times reporter Gerald Walker. The film stars Al Pacino, Paul Sorvino, and Karen Allen. On an $11 million budget, the film grossed a domestic $19.8 million. It's so unfortunate that Al Pacino has pretty much disowned this film because he sees it as exploitative. And while I understand the outrage of the times, I feel like a large chunk of his feelings towards this movie comes from this pressure cooker that he was in with the public, and like not even just that, but also him falling out with the director William Friedkin over the course of the production. I'd prefer going more into this at the end and mix it with my take, but for now all I'll say is there was severe pushback from the gay community during this film's production because they saw it as these, straight filmmakers trying to demonize and stereotype their people, and these jokers were actively hanging by the sets during filming, interrupting their sound and everything. It's a mess. We are going to get deep into this. We follow an ambitious police officer who is assigned the unusual and highly sensitive case of going undercover and immersing himself in the queer leather bar scene, where a string of brutal murders of gay men are happening. The film was banned in Iran, South Africa, and initially Finland. It's very much a time capsule of a bygone era in gay life, being that a year after its release, the first reports of AIDS-related illnesses were reported in New York City. So go fetch your favorite leather, and while you're at it, pick out a bandana. I would choose carefully if I were you, because we're about to hit up a few bars inside the world of cruising. Before we dive into this week's film, there are some adult tangs that we have to talk about, like finances. If you're the type of creature who has too many bills to manage, maybe, you have bad spending habits, been there, then I've got the perfect app for you. It's called Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, design a custom budget, and grow your savings all in one place. With just a little few taps of the finger, you have the power to cancel the services that no longer service you. Right? Let me say that again. You have the power to cancel services that do not serve you. Rocket Money has helped its members save up to $740 a year when you use all the app's premium features. And more than that, they've also helped a member save over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. The app shows you where your money is going at all times. It'll show you these insights and spending categories. Some of y'all need to look at that. Because why are you spending $15 on coffee when your rent is due tomorrow? Let's talk about that. You will also get notifications on when an upcoming bill is due and, when the account is getting a little low on fuel now, all to help you avoid overdrafts and late fees. Pretty tight, isn't it? So to save more and spend less, join the 5 million plus using Rocket Money today. Click the link in my description or scan the QR code on the screen and get started for free. Much thanks for Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to breaking down this film, yeah? It's only fitting we open the film cruising on a cruise ship, right? In this opening scene, we watch a man discover what looks like to be a decayed severed arm. The arm is examined by a coroner and a man named Detective Lafransky, who asks to see if this coroner could match it to a torso that came in last month. So it seems we have an active killer on our hands, folks. Two officers are cruising down the street. The one on the left is talking about how his wife left him with their kids for 10 years. Meanwhile, the cop driving is saying that they're all scum scumbags. But he's not talking about his buddy over in the seat next to him. He's talking about all these homosexual men walking around the streets. They both make a comment how years ago you could play stickball on the streets, and now look at this town, you know, like what's happening? All these homosexuals. They pull the car over and one pig bothers two divas asking if they're working, and the girl on the left asks if he's buying. Period. The blonde one is named Da Vinci, and we don't learn the name of the other. After some slick comments, the pig hops out the car just trying to give a hard time. Mind you, he already pulled them in last week, you know, for no goddamn reason. And this childless, wifeless clown is upset because they're hanging out on his corner. So he makes them get in the cop car, and it's so gross. And so, I mean, what's new, right? Abuse of power. They make trans jokes and then immediately follow that up with hitting on them, and they find a little spot in an alley, and it's very heavily implied that they made them perform acts on them. Right after Da Vinci is forced to go to the front seat and give the driver a BJ, we see a man walking across the road into a private club. There's funky music, cigarettes, men making out, hips shaking on the dance floor. We get a lot of these pan-ins on like these men wearing jock straps and a bunch of flat pancakes. There's also a lot of men with bandanas tucked into their outfits. We gonna get there. One gentleman named Lauren, looking like he came off the set of Top Gun or Tropic Thunder, approaches the man we followed into the club. He has a very soft and deep, sexy voice that's like almost menacing.
Do I qualify?
When Lauren asks Leather Daddy why he comes here, he throws the question back at him, and Lauren says that he's here because he's having problems with his ego and he needs to be worshipped and adored. Sounds like a lot of individuals in this community. No shade.
Where you from? Mars.
The men take a taxi to Lauren's room where he strips, opening a case full of fun toys, deep inhaling some vintage poppers, and this mystery man is just leaned up against the wall being creepy as hell. After they hook up later in the night, Lauren wakes seeing this man going through his drawers. Okay, but not drawers as in like, you know, drawers, but like actual drawers. Is actual drawers, his dresser. Bro talking about he was looking for cigarettes. I mean, he is fully dressed now, asking Lauren if he's afraid. Then he sits on the bed and reaches in his boot where he takes out a knife. He takes out a knife. He started putting it up to Lauren's neck, whispering a song.
Who's here? I'm here. You're here. Now I'm afraid.
The man orders him to lie down as he starts tracing the knife along his chest and abs, then tells him to turn over on his stomach. Leather Daddy goes inside the fun suitcase and ties this poor guy's arms and legs. At this point, the guy is, oh my god, it's so sad. You know, he's crying, begging him to stop. You can feel it. You can feel it coming.
You made me do that.
I have to admit that this is fucking terrifying. However, I will be damned if I let somebody willingly tie me up. I mean, you know, look, I know that some people have kinks about being tied. I mean, in that case, it's like, well, you know, honestly, hold on. Let's talk about that for a second. And I have to be very careful with my words because, you know, YouTube is so sensitive, guys. I'm sorry. But when it comes to the whole BDSM and the tying up and all that, I watch too many movies. I watch too many. I know people have a safe word and all that, but you know, with things like that, you really have to have a certain level of trust in somebody. But like, you know, especially in this movie with things like this, you know, these are strangers. You gonna let a stranger tie you up on your bed and like, Slim, you don't know what they gonna do. I don't know. You know, you can take a few cuts on the arm. Like he has a knife. It's not like he has a gun. Like if y'all are in this position, if y'all are ever in this situation, I need y'all to put up a good fight, okay? We survivors over here. As soon as that knife was taken off of his body, if there was a good enough distance, he could have got him in the groin and then went to work and pounded him in the face. Snapped the wrist, make him drop the knife. I don't know, something. We need to do something. Lauren's body is looked at and a coroner reveals his anus was dilated at the time of death. The cop across him is Captain Edelson, who's pushing for more information. Da Vinci is brought in for questioning, flipping through pictures of men that were investigated, and Captain is trying to get some inside info. Da Vinci goes in Captain's office afterward to tell him 2 of the cops harassed her and her friend. One made Mama give him head in the front seat, damn it! He immediately tells Da Vinci that she's full of shit because, you know, how did you know they were cops? Huh? Like... Mama just told you, like, names that were on the badges. She was like, oh, I think they sound something like, you know, Simone or whatever it was. I didn't write it down. But come on, like, yeah, Edelson argues that there are more guys out there impersonating cops than there are cops. And until Da Vinci gets some names or numbers, homegirl can't come around with stories. We finally meet Officer Steve Burns, the man of the show, who immediately gets Edelson's name wrong, which to me only proves and sounds like, you know, don't nobody respect you in this joint. Anyway, he called Steve into his office because he wants him for a special assignment.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever had your cock sucked by a man?
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out!
What the f is going on here? Edelson asks even more grotesque questions and Steve thinks that he's pulling his balls, but Captain tells Steve to look at his confidential board where we see a professor at Columbia University named Paul Vincent, then Lauren Lucas, an actor. Mr. Captain Crunch wants Steve to go undercover because he has the same physical appearance as all of the victims. Late 20s, 140 to 150 pounds, dark hair, dark eyes. Captain wants to send him out there to see if he can attract this killer. And if Steve takes on this assignment, then he'll come out with more experience than any of Captain's other detectives. So Steve is starting to get on board. You know, he's like, okay, word. Do I get a gun? Do I get a Glock? And this Joker says, no shield, no gun, and you get paid once a month.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Huh? Steve will get a call telling him where to pick up the money and will only report to him. Hey, look, I ain't gonna lie, this is some ass. And not the good kind. Stevie accepts it though, saying, sure, I love it. That night, Steve is in his bed with his partner, Nancy. She's asking what's this new assignment about, but he was ordered not to tell anybody about it. He doesn't know how long he'll be gone and believes it to be pretty dangerous. His final words and reasoning are that he gets to skip patrol and get a gold shield right away. Nancy tells Steve that his father called, and then she's immediately like, gold star. I didn't know you were so ambitious.
There's a lot about me you don't know.
Right. Steve is dropped off by a taxi with a suitcase, officially undercover, moving into his new place. Look at him with his little leather jacket. Go on ahead, boy. When he's putting his threads away, he sees 100 queer magazines in the closet. So it's time to clean house. Steve grabs them all and puts them in the trash bin in the hall. Ooh. And that's when we meet Ted Bailey. And Mr. Burns introduces himself as his new name, John Forbes. When Steve says he found the magazines in his closet, Ted reveals that a guy named Bobby, who used to live in the apartment, probably left them. Ted offers to go out with him and get some coffee as new buds, and look at Mr. John Forbes making friends. I'm so proud of you. We learned that Ted is a writer, specifically of plays. Now, what kind of plays, you might ask? Boy meets boy, boy loses boy, boy ends up with an analyst. Little light rom-com moment, right? During their breakfast, Ted shares that he has a roommate named Gregory Milanese, who's a dancer and currently out of town right now working on a musical. We start getting to the meat and potatoes shortly when Ted brings up the killings happening, since it's the talk of every gay bar in town. He's saying that he's afraid to cruise. Baby, let's cruise away. Hold on. From here. And if you want it, you got it for see y'all know about that. Y'all too little too young to know about that. Both the Smokey Robinson version and the D'Angelo version. I mean, wow. There was another killer similar to the recent about 5 or 6 months ago, but it didn't make the papers, yet everybody heard about it. That night, the boys are all out. Steve is cruising for a bruising in the bar, yeah, to check out what's new and what's happening. Look, my ass almost got excited because I thought I saw a black person in this bitch, but I can't tell. Maybe he's Latino, I don't know. Like, where are the colors? Steve goes into a shop seeing a bunch of bandanas and asks the owner what they're for. And now it's time for Bandana 101. Come on, everybody, pull up a chair. Pull up a chair, don't be shy. I don't have all the colors because I don't get down like that. But first, we have a light blue hanky. Now, a light blue hanky in your left back pocket means you want a blowjob. But a light blue hanky in your right means you give one. Green hanky left side says that you're a hustler. Green hanky on the right side means you're a buyer. Yellow hanky on the left side means you give a golden shower. And if you don't know what a golden shower is, look it up. I'm not gonna tell you. And right side yellow, you receive. Then there's the good old red, which means
Please.
Steve's response after the guy asks him if he's sure that he doesn't want one is so funny.
Say anything you want.
I'm gonna go home and think about it.
He starts filling in his eyebrows. Okay, queen, going into a joint called Wolf's Den where some rock and roll music is playing. I just know these clubs are smelly as I can't. While Steve's hanging around observing, numerous men come by him checking him out, yet it's radio silence. Oh, and since it's later in the night, he did end up getting a bandana. I'm gonna let you guess which one he got. Go ahead, I'm gonna let you think about it. Take your time. He got a yellow hanky, and it's on his left side. Which means that he gives golden showers.
You into water sports?
No, I like to watch.
If you like to watch, take that hanky out of your pocket, asshole.
Girl, it is not that serious. Calm down, Mr. Pissy Pants. Daddy is lifting weights in his apartment, flirting with bartenders and getting tea, scoping out the back rooms and bathrooms. One guy is rubbing all up on his chest and he low-key looks like he's malfunctioning and trying to figure out what to do. While hanging out by himself under a rock bridge, a group of guys come by and one of them hits him, presumably calling him a slur in another language. But Buddy eventually finds some action. Proud of you, Steve. Get out your comfort zone. Steve meets Captain at a bar, updating him about talking to bartenders, getting information on who's been at these places, who hasn't, etc. The same guy Steve hooked up with the other night is cruising about, and out of everybody in this mug, he goes immediately to the man in the shadows, who is no other than Mr. Leather Killer, who he would invite into his apartment, but he doesn't have any AC. So the killer suggests they go to the park. This is truly dangerous work. I mean, this park is already dark enough as it is, but these guys go deep, and I mean really f***ing deep. I would not be comfortable going this far, and the thing is that, you know, we as an audience know what's about to happen. I mean, so many people are, you know, in this park cruising around, messing around, like, everybody know what's going on, so like, why do you need to stray so far away from the light, right? Slapping through trees and shit, and now Mr. Cutie can't find the killer. See, this is what I'm talking about. Well, another one bites the dust. Rule number 2 of the Parker Survival Cruising Guide. Do not go deep into the woods. Always make sure you're near some type of light source so you can see where these motherfuckers are hiding. Steve makes love to his girlfriend one night, but the gag here is that he has this damn spike band on his wrist that he forgot to take off, and she notices it. Ted's roommate Gregory has hepatitis and the show is canceled, so he'll be home the following day. Apparently, Greg told Ted that he should forget about his writing and find a job until Greg's show reopens, saying that it's Ted's turn now to work. We see in the newspaper that a homo prowler is out and about, so everybody need to clutch their purses. At a diner, Ted is still venting about his frustrations with his roommate, and this leads to him telling Steve more about Bobby, the guy who used to live in the apartment that Steve now inhabits. Mr. Bobby had anger issues, you know, bro would storm off, hit the bathhouses, blow a dozen guys in an hour, you know. That night, Steve goes to the bar, and this night, everybody is dressed up like a cop, and it's getting a little too real. One of these supposed guards come up behind him asking if he has a knife or a gun. They're like, "Are you a police officer?" And Steve is like,
"What are you talking about?"
Turns out he's got the wrong attitude because it's precinct tonight, and unfortunately, he's gonna have to ask Steve to leave. Babe, I'm so confused. You know, I think it's like a role play thing. Anyway, whatever. Y'all can have fun playing playing pigs all you want to. Child, if Al Pacino don't just walk his ass over to the ballrooms, you know, get his life, he'll have more fun over there. Walk the butch categories. Yeah, he'll eat that. He'll eat that. I'm just saying, like, he gonna have more fun with the black and the Latin folk, like, word. And now that I've said ballroom, check out one of my more underrated videos on one of my favorite documentaries, Paris is Burning. There's a young guy who had been watching Steve in the bar, and he follows him all the way out, trailing behind him. And when Steve asks if he's looking for something, the man says,
That bulge in your pants ain't a knife. Why don't we take a walk?
but Steve says, not tonight, buddy. The next time Steve sleeps with Nancy, we can clearly see that he is immensely out of it. Oh no, if you ask me, there's some sexual confusion going on. We meet a gentleman who leaves a store with his assistant, and based off some dialogue, this man appears to be a designer. At nightfall, he cruises through the city, stopping at an adult bookstore. Oh my god, a black person. Buddy looks like he is shopping for a fun toy, and looky at this cookie. He follows the leather killer into a theater where he inserts a coin to look at an X film. Getting touchy, the designer unzips the killer as the killer start having flashbacks to the night he took out Lauren, and he strikes again.
You made me do that.
Ain't nobody making you do anything, you sick f. Show yourself, you monster. Steve gets home one night and can hear Ted and Greg upstairs arguing like some old married couple. Though we only get a few pieces, essentially Greg is mad that Ted isn't paying any bills around here. And now that Greg is sick, remember he told Teddy Bear that he's gonna have to get his ass on the corner so we can keep these motherfucking lights on. The boys are going toe to toe. You know, Ted is like, when are you gonna be on Broadway? And Greg is like, as soon as you get a play on Broadway. They are definitely alluded to be like partners here. You know, Greg is talking about Ted is not going to find somebody as big as him. This is a mess. This is Captain Edelson visits his higher-up chief of detectives, who is damn near about to bust a cap in his ass because he's got the PCs on the phone, and the mayor and every gay group in the city is stomping around his office all day. Both their asses are on the line, and the chief was the one to recommend Mr. Edelson, and he doesn't want this to explode on his ass. So he tells Eddie the Fetty to wrap it up, and he doesn't care how he does it. Like, I'm sorry, just wrap it up. So you just want him to pick somebody random and be like, yeah, you the killer, come here. Chief tells him to finish this off, clean the thing up before the Democratic convention comes in, or he will put somebody in Edelson's office who can. Two detectives bring Captain the coin that was used in the freaky theater, and though blood matches the victims, the print from the quarter doesn't. Steve is back out walking around the club looking for something to get into. This is crazy business, folks. You know, motherfuckers just out here in the club getting fisted. Oh my god, like, Jesus Christ. We see a guy get into an argument with another clubber by a pinball machine, and after Steve asks, the bartender reveals bro's name is Skip Lee. He's a bad boy, and the other night he got stoned out of his mind and came on to a guy at the Eagle's Nest. Apparently the guy gave him the swerve, so Skip went for his throat. And the bartender, like a real one, tells Steve to leave him alone because he's a scumbag. I mean, wow, praise to all the if you are a bartender watching this, thank you. Yeah, thank you just for everything. You know, let me also mention that there's another guy who has been watching Steve this evening, and we don't know his name yet. On the dance floor, Steve and this dude are biting a bandana together and getting crunk, sniffing inside of it. I'm pretty sure there's some type of drug sprayed on it, go figure. This is one of the most popular scenes in the film, and it's a great one because it really is the first time that Steve is having fun in a space like this. Later in the night, Steve's in a car with LaFransky showing him Skip, who's been in a lot of hassles, and he's also the one that's been following him. LaFransky asks why didn't Steve go with him the other night, but Mr. Burns says that he choked. The following day, Da Vinci meets with LaFransky, asking her about information on Skip. Da Vinci tells him that Skip Lee works at a steakhouse in Penn Station called the Iron Horse, and before LaFransky vanishes, she asks if Edelson took care of the two cops for her. And all this clown says is, I'm working on it. No, don't I don't want to hear that. Talking about some I'm working. No, don't work on it, get it done. And guess what, ho? Miss Leonardo da Vinci's got something else. She brings up the guy that was killed up at the Ramble then says a couple friends of hers were up there that night and said that they heard singing, some nursery rhyme. Apparently the lyrics are something like, "Who's here? We're here." LaFransky and his partner hit up the Iron Horse and see Skip waiting, and as you see, every customer is using a steak knife. The coroner says the stab wounds could definitely have been made with this blade, so Edelson shows Steve to let him know his man is carrying one. Two narcs are sitting in a car listening to the wire attached to Steve, who gets a motel room with Skip, and we can hear the conversation. It's going something along the lines of, like tying each other up, but Skip is saying that he's not into that, nor is he into tying up Steve. Now remember, our killer had a little knack for tying up. Skip is like, "You want me to tie you up and then do what?" And Steve, you nasty. We hear Steve over the wire say, "Do whatever you want. I see you, Stevie. It's okay. I experimented back at camp, So right after that, the signal ends up going out, so the boys hop out the car and a bunch of other cops pull up out the cut, invading the motel, creeping up the steps with shotguns loaded. I don't know. This is I know there's power in numbers, but this is a little excessive, is it not? This is, sure, it's a killer with a knife, but it's like 15 of them and they all have guns. Why are we acting like he's an alphabet bomber or something? It just makes me think about when you're driving on the highway and you see somebody pulled over by a cop, but it's not just one cop car, it's like four behind. Like, why, like, are you scared? You scared, that's what I'm hearing. They knock on the boys' motel room, and as soon as Skip opens the door, they bust up in there, smacking him against the wall. Steve is tied up on the bed, confused. We jump to the interrogation room, and the cops are putting on the whole act, dropping the F-bomb, asking what they were doing up in the motel room, and Skip points out that the room is Steve's, and he's, I'm just as confused as you guys are. They are pretty much trying to gaslight this kid into saying that he was going to stab Steve and kill him. And right after, Steve nods them off, playing the part saying, "I want to see my lawyer." I genuinely just don't even know what to say right now. Like, part of me feels like, are we trying to say like, oh, the big scary black man is gonna come in here and beat you up? But I can't even be mad at it because I laughed. While I was watching the bonus features, like, this actually happened to a guy, and if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but this actual dude does shit like this. Steve is screaming, "Why did he hit me?" And Edelson is hollering back, asking who paid for the room, and Steve's like, "Bitch, I told you, I paid for the rum." Detective Sonny takes Steve into a room where the black man is reading a newspaper, and Steve tells them they came in the room too soon. The pig starts showing Skip a bunch of pics of different men. He is shaken, having a nervous breakdown. Poor guy. Once again, the fact that not only is he like clearly having this, as I said, mental breakdown, he's so confused, but you heard over the damn wire, he didn't want to tie him up. He wasn't into it. What? Y'all are you? Do I need to be a detective? Really? Do I need to be a detective? Because I will. They bring Mr. Big Black Man, who I have to say is caked up over here, back, and Skip jumps up out the chair trying to leave the room frightened. They ask Skip if he's ever seen the knife, and he's like, "Yeah, bro, I do, because I work at the Iron Horse as a waiter, you fucking donkey." God damn. Oh my god. The day the designer Martino was killed was the same day that Skip was seen coming out of that same theater. But Skip says all he did was sell bro an ounce of grass. Another man enters the room, and all the pigs start screaming at Skip to take his pants off, ordering him to jack off so they can get a sample of his sperm, and tell him he's gonna take the floating ball test. The what? They're gonna fill the sink with water, dip his balls in it, and if they don't float, then he is their main man. Am I missing something here? I don't understand that. Somebody explain that to me.
Prints don't match. Print on the court is different than the kid's print.
Oh. One of the detectives get up, begging the captain to let me have this guy. I'm telling you, I can make him give it up. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say this too. Skip has only been working at the Iron Horse for 2 months. 2 months. You 4-inch punishers. What did the white people say? I've had it. Steve visits Nancy, who questions why he didn't just use his key to come inside. Mama was on the way out and she can tell that he's going through something, but Mr. John Forbes is not in the mood to talk about it. So she's like, what is it? What is it? Why don't you want to talk to me anymore? Why don't you want to touch me? No, cause word, like let's get into it, Steven. What's going on?
Are you gay?
So the actress who plays Nancy is Karen Allen, and William Friedkin intentionally did not give her the full script of this movie to like basically deliberately keep her in the dark with Steve's character as he explores this underground gay world. Nancy keeps pushing, saying she doesn't know what's happening to him, and Steve's like, neither do I. So Nancy says maybe they should both cut loose for a while, and all Steve does is put her orange juice back on the counter and head for the door. The next time that Steve meets with Captain, he's telling him basically like, hey, look, son, y'all, you gonna have to figure something out because the way that y'all was working over me the other day is unacceptable. It's ridiculous. I don't care how convincing it had to look, y'all was taking it to the extreme. Steve's pointing out how they were working over Skip as if he shot the president or something, okay? When bro was clearly innocent and lets Mr. Potbelly here know that he's not getting paid enough for this. They destroyed the kid and didn't even have a case against him. Steve didn't come on the job to shit can some guy just because he's gay. And shortly after he says this, there is like an extra who is coming up the stairs. Why did they keep that in there? I would have yelled cut like that. Secondhand embarrassment. Steve admits he doesn't think he can handle this job and all the pressure. Things are happening to him. Something is happening, and he wants Captain to know that it's not because he's afraid, but it's stuff going down he doesn't think he can deal with. Points for Stevie for being #real, but Captain doesn't care. He's telling Steve how much he needs him and he's counting on him. Never mind, bro looks like he's on the verge of a fucking anxiety attack. And when Steve tries to walk away, Captain runs to him. Well, he limps to him. He has like a little limp in his walk. I don't know if it's the actor or if it's like something with the character. He gives Steve something from the Columbia University yearbook. Pictures that go back 2 years. There's a check mark next to every student who ever took a class from the Columbia professor who got killed.
I'd like you to take this and see if you can recognize anybody.
No, for real, cause y'all giving me, Slim, you giving me all this homework, but I'm not seeing the paper to match. Like, what is we talking about? Run it the up. Like, give me a better joint, give me a better crib. Can I have a gun? A 45? A Glock? No? Stevie's doing homework, looking through the papers, getting nothing. I mean, this is just, like a fat waste of time. Ooh, I'll shut my ass up then. Steve is flashes to seeing Stewart and opens the phone book, calling the registrar office to locate him. This guy's in the Department of Music and Speech. The woman gives this stranger the last address she has on Stewart's file. Like, wow, was it really that easy back then to get somebody's file, somebody's information? This is dangerous. We see Stewart going for an afternoon run, followed by a weight session while hanging out with a bud. Steve watches this little bubble butt college boy walk all the way to class. Afterwards, he's lifting more weights because the juice head never stopped pumping, I guess. Day after day, like a hawk in the sky, he watches. And one afternoon, he gets the chops to break into his apartment by stopping a fan and crawling through the window. Steve scanning Stewart's room, seeing a bunch of books on musical theater and baby pictures. Stevie, baby, I need you to cut your nails, babe. What's this? He's not seeing much, just artsy books, but then he checks his closet where he sees leather jackets and hats. There's a box on the floor with numerous letters to a man named John L. Richards, which is his father. When Steve opens one of the notes reading, it's pretty much a letter Stewart wrote to his father, saying someday he'll be able to tell his pop all he's done to make his father look up to him. Ah yes, daddy issues. In another letter, Stewart starts saying how he's in his head, he can feel his thoughts taking shape, and one evening in the park, he saw an enormous dark shape that seemed to be hanging, suspended and dripping from the trees like a mass of tar jelly, and at its center was a bright red glow. I think we need to get you checked out. On the bus, Stewart is reading the newspaper where a gay killer is still at large, homo on the rage, y'all. And this must be another day because this outfit is different and not Steve is on the bus with him. And you know, upon my viewing of this time, by the way, this is my second time watching this movie, I thought to myself, I was like, every shot of the leather killer that we have seen from the back, like, bro, I would say he's probably like 5'7", 5'8", and this Stewart boy is like 6'1". Who are y'all trying to fool? But then again, I feel like the film could be, you know, trying to pull like an okey doke because Scream does that a lot. Stewart tosses his newspaper in the trash, tapping a few keys on his piano, and notices his fan was tampered with. Stewart immediately runs to his closet and sees his mail was also tampered with, then runs outside, walking through the park, and a clean-cut man is sitting on a bench, whom he joins. This is his father. Flashes of all the killer's victims play as Stewart tells his daddy how he's tried to do everything that he wanted, but it's never good enough. Mr. Richard says he's taking it for granted that Stewie understood.
You know what you have to do. You know what you have to do.
Not the daddy issues made him a murderer. He takes out his famous killer boots from his closet with a steak knife as nightfall is on the rise. Steve heads out, stopping by Ted's, and Gregory got this ass hairstyle looking like a 1950s housewife named Shelly, answering the door with these tiny green undies. Yo. He called himself clocking Mr. John Forbes, saying that, you know, oh, Mr. John just got here just in time because it's dinner. Isn't that when you usually come in here? 1, fix the tone. 2, don't get fucked up, shorty. Steve tells this twink that whatever his friendship with Ted is doesn't concern him. And after saying that Ted isn't here, Greg tries to close the door, but Steve kicks it, asking where. Teddy Bear is out working an IBM machine in a primo brokerage house, which pays well because normal folk don't like working at night. He then says it's good that Ted is out working because, you know, if he's working, he's not out getting involved.
What do you mean by that?
Ted is too sensitive to have too many involvements. And hey, they found that out with the last piece of trash that moved in down the hall. It must be something about that room. The people it attracts, do you suppose? And see, that's when I would have popped him in the mouth.
See.
Niggas got so much mouth, and when it's time to box, we callin' 12. Like, what is we talking about? Steve takes a second to collect himself, and a beat passes before Greg unlocks the door to check. And that's when Steve busts in there about to wring his neck in, and Greg is screaming an accusation that Steve is in love with Ted. His frightened ass grabs a knife, calling Steve crazy. And you know what? Even though I don't like Greg, body is tea. I don't know what the hell happened to my audio right here, and I don't want you to be lost, so I'm just going to tell you what happened. So after Steve leaves the apartment, he takes a bus to Richard's building, and he like finds his name on the buzzer, taps the button, and, you know, go right to that window because he know Papi Chulo looking. And they have this little stare off, so he's kind of like telling him without telling him, you know, meet me in a park or something, you know, get some Italian pee-pee. Steve finds Stewart on a bench by himself, mocking his actions, then asks him for a light, before taking a seat on the same bench. He takes Stewart's hat, putting it on, singing the famous nursery rhyme that Stu should be very familiar with. Baby is giving Steve the evil eye, saying very funny. Steve asks this joker if he has a place for them, and of course he does, but it's not available. So Steve suggests that they go to his place in the West Village, and Steve is like, no, that's too far. How about we go down there to the tunnel?
How big are you? Party size.
Love that line. Steve pulls his pants off, daring Stewart to follow, who is just glistening and sweating up a storm. What's wrong, babes? Are you gonna have a little manic serial killer episode, or are you just nervous because somebody knows your little secret? Well, that was easy, right? Stewart's in the hospital with Steve and Captain lets him know that not only was his fingerprint on the coin, but he also attacked a police officer, which they're going to indict on. If Stewart confesses to the murder of Martino Perry, Lauren Lucas, Eric Rosman, and 4 or 5 others that they believe he's involved in, then they will reduce his sentence and he'll do 8 years, no more. But Stewart says, I didn't kill anybody. Captain and Steve leave the room, and Captain Crunch tells them they're gonna have to run it through a grand jury because once Steve Steve has been cleared, then he can never be sued or faced charges. When they present the evidence and tell him what his assignment was, they'll go for necessary force and walk away. Steve thanks his higher up for the opportunity, for being there, and Captain tells him his order should come down after the grand jury. But meanwhile, take the rest of the week off. And before Steve hops on the elevator, he says, "Welcome to the detective division." Cops are going through Stuart's room collecting evidence while Stu's friend is present, and they see the box of old letters. And in this moment, the friend reveals that Stuart's father has been dead for 10 years, but he actively talked about him as if he was still alive. After cutting to black, it's now nighttime and the killer has striked again. Who the hell is it this time? The cop informs Captain on Ted's schedule and how there's no signs of struggle, nothing seems to be stolen, so this had to be someone he knew. The weapon appears to be a kitchen knife. They have an alarm out for Gregory since he's nowhere to be found, and to the cops it appears to be some sort of lover's quarrel. Just as we did at the beginning of the film, we see the same setup shot of a short man with curly hair and a leather jacket walking into the club. God damn it, bitch, we got the wrong guy. Nancy comes home and Steve's in the bathroom washing his face. He's here to stay, guys. And he says when he's cleaned up, he wants to tell Nancy everything. She cuts on some soft classical music, eyeing Steve's glasses, jacket, and hat.
But then I started to understand what was going on.
Wait, cause ho. The most compelling element of this controversial film is not only its intentional ambiguity, but the identity crisis of our protagonist, Steve Burns. There's a fuzzy little area of being a pursuer and being pursued. I mean, damn, the film's title is a double entendre for police patrol and searching for sex. Over the course of the film, we see Steve start getting loose around the edges, paranoid. The walls of his mind feel like they're closing in. But is this because of some anxiety over a killer being on the loose? Of fully immersing himself in an alien subculture where a lot of the time these people dress as cops? Or is this all something extensive? A malfunction having to do with his attraction. We see him struggle to perform with Nancy in bed, to communicate with her properly. He forms a genuine friendship with his neighbor Ted. He physically allows himself to be tied up and experiment with these men. When Captain Edelson asks him early in the film if he's ever been intimate with a man, instead of just flat out saying no, Steve starts nervously laughing and asks if this is a joke. The killer's identity is another fascinating part about everything because it appears that there are multiple. They all have the same outline and they all blur together. Stuart was absolutely part of it, but us seeing the same cat, walk down into the bar after Richards is locked up, that tells us there's more happening here. In 1972, William Friedkin, who had made quite the name for himself after The French Connection in 71, was shooting The Exorcist in downtown New York for a scene requiring mock brain scans of the character Reagan. Well, he shot a real-life radiologist and his assistant, Paul Bateson. In 1979, Friedkin was gearing up to adapt Gerald Walker's novel Cruising and wanted to add to the plot details from a later case of a real-life serial killer who targeted leather boys in the city's underground gay bars, and who also later dumped their dismembered body parts in the Hudson River wrapped in these black plastic bags. Ooh, this is crazy. After Friedkin learned that his Exorcist radiologist assistant Bateson was awaiting trial for the slaying of gay film critic Addison Verrill, Friedkin decided to visit him for research into the psyche of his cruising killer. Bateson later found himself sentenced to life in prison, but not before dropping hints while in custody that he was also the body bag killer, and those cases remain unsolved. But there's a good chance that Friedkin not only inadvertently consulted an actual killer, but homeboy casted him in his film that he made years before. It's bananas. The ending of this film sends a chill up my spine every time I see it. It's something about Steve looking over to the camera with the clinking sound, how you're left wondering if this Joker has become a copycat killer, potentially due to whatever he's internalized. And Nancy trying on his gear also hints to the theme of shifting and an inherent identity. Oh, it's so good. William has made no claim that Steve is a killer, but instead allows the possibility that he may be. What he told Pacino when they they were shooting was, you're happy to be home, you're happy it's all over, and you're shaving. And then at a certain point, I want you to look in the mirror and then at the camera. And Al Pacino was pissed when he saw this in a screening that he watched, going up to him hollering, like, why didn't you tell me that I was the killer? Because Pacino said that he would have played Steve a little bit differently. Pacino was out here demanding Friedkin refilm certain scenes and re-edit parts of the film to make it more obvious, but Friedkin, who had final cut, refused to. The rift between both these men became fully evident when Friedkin was asked his opinion on Pacino's thoughts of the film's ending during an interview, to which he said,
I don't give a flying into a rolling donut about what Al Pacino thinks. Is that an answer to your question, Greg? I mean, I could be sitting here for an hour and try and explain it, but that's a fact. I cared a lot, for example, about what Tommy Lee Jones thought, because this guy was a brilliant, professional, prepared actor. And he would think about his character more than the director, more than me. He would come to the set with absolutely brilliant ideas. And I don't feel the same about Pacino. It turned out that Pacino had no idea what the vibe was in that community.
Pacino was just not ready for it.
He would be walking down a street and there'd be thousands of people opposing the film, yelling out, Pacino, you f***ing f***it, you little sucker.
I know you thrive on, conflict.
Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah. Was Pacino fine about doing that scene?
No problem.
Did Pacino discuss with you? I know he was uncomfortable doing some of the film. I know.
So what?
For ages, he wouldn't talk about it.
Well, that's a good thing, because he's not very eloquent.
Years later, after a screening of this film in 2022, Friedkin was asked by a fan what he meant by this and if he had since changed his opinion. And all bro pretty much says is how, people have their own opinions of stuff, and he didn't enjoy working with Al Pacino because he was a pain in the ass. So the copy of Cruising behind me is the Arrow Video 4K Blu-ray version, and I was looking at the bonus features and I was so gagged to find out that different actors were used in the various different scenes where the killer was present, but they were all using the same voice. Friedkin said that it's not an attempt to confuse about who the killer is, but to underline the fact that there were multiple. And I said it, like when I was both this time and the first time that I had watched this, I was like, why are we putting so much pressure on Stewart? Like, this dude is like over 6 feet. And and in them other scenes, bro is like very much, is giving 5'7". The very first kill in the hotel, an actor named Larry Atlas plays the killer, and Arnaldo Santana, who plays Lauren Lucas, is the victim. Then in the Central Park killing, Larry Atlas is the victim, and Richard Cox, who plays Stuart Richards, is the killer. But during the peep show in the theater, Arnaldo, Lauren Lucas, plays the killer, and then Richard Cox plays the killer once more. But on top of all of this, all of the killer's lines and all of these scenes are dubbed by a completely different actor named James Sartoris.
You made me do that.
So like this is a film. This is how you do filmmaking. James Sartoris is never shown on screen in the film, and he is also dubbed during not only Stewart's father's lines.
You know what you have to do.
Yup, the father's voice was him as well, but Stewart's voice when in the hospital.
I never killed anyone.
It's so sad how Ted Bailey is the representation for the other side, and in some strange way is framed as the film's ultimate victim. He was just living his life, all happy, almost all of his scenes were sunny and during the day and everything. They put 57 stab wounds on Don, and if it's not obvious, he has the most graphic death in the entire movie, even though it's an aftermath shot. Jay Acavone, who plays Skip Lee, says a lot of people ask him who the killer is, and his response is always, who do you want it to be? Hell, Friedkin himself said even he doesn't know who the person walking towards the club at the beginning or the end is. The legacy of Cruising is inseparable from its troubled production and cultural impact upon release. The 70s leather scene shown is of a pre-AIDS subculture in the West Village, which William used real locations and extras from the community. Many gay activists felt the film was going to perpetuate negative, violent, and the sensationalized stereotypes of gay men as killers or victims. And when I say they were protesting, I mean climbing on top of roofs rooftops, finding out, where they were filming, and they would get these big reflectors to mess up the shot. They would find their way inside the apartment buildings, go to the next one over, take a stereo, blast music to mess up the audio. Like they went all out, okay? And a lot of the audio had to be re-recorded because of this. It's so crazy. These people were marching down the road hollering, hey, hey, ho, ho, cruising movies gotta go. But like I said, they were also using people from the leather scene as real extras in the movie. So there was people in this wide community who were supporting it, but then also people who were not. Gene Davis, who played Da Vinci, said that he had to be escorted out of his dressing room. Then Don Scardino, who plays Ted, said in the 2007 featurette that this crazy ass story. There was one afternoon where they were filming a diner scene, and like outside of it, like about 100 protesters were all up on the glass, hooting and hollering, and there was no back door. There was no back way out, and they had to get Al Pacino out of there. And the only way out was through. They called up Pacino's agency. They got about like 10 bodyguards because the plan was they would all like make a wedge around him and shuffle through the crowd and get him in the car. And they did it. But beforehand, Don had asked Pacino if he could go with him because, he was saying like, I'm never going to be this famous. So like, I just want to see what it's like. And Pacino was like, head scratch. He was like, I guess so. Activists were rolling their cameras trying to get a shot of Al, Al, say something, respond, say something, slamming, banging on the glass window. Mind you, Dawn is in the back seat, like when they get in the car saying, oh my God, like this is crazy, this is great, this is awesome. And bro looks over at Al Pacino, who just is completely silent, and he had his face in his hands, bent over. Yikes. I probably would have reacted just like Pacino, like this is not fun or cute. This is exhausting and frustrating.
Did you think it was worth saying?
Not really. I don't think it really said anything.
Interesting. Are you glad you saw it?
Yeah, I am. I didn't think it was violence against gays as much as I thought it was violence against S&M.
It wasn't too good.
Sorry you saw it?
No, it just wasn't a very good movie.
When Pacino read the script, he said that he saw the film showing just a fragment of the gay community, the same way the mafia is a fragment of Italian-American life. He saw this story being about ambivalence. And it's funny because Pacino thought that Dog Day Afternoon was going to be his most controversial project. And if you know, you know. I can't say anything because I feel like if I do allude to why that movie is controversial, that's kind of a spoiler. So go watch it. It's a great movie, Dog Day Afternoon. Check it out. Attica! But yeah, Pacino said that there is nothing second to Cruising, what he went through. Years later, he also revealed that he didn't believe Friedkin shot the entire script. He felt the scenes were stripped and that the meat was taken out of them. So after saying what they did to Cruising, Pacino took it upon himself to put $500,000 from the money that they owed him into a trust fund, and the interest still goes to everything from AIDS to the homeless, to feeding children, to supporting theaters. So there was some good that came out of that, in his words. I think Pacino's distress and struggle with all the riots definitely worked in his favor, because it kind of reflects, Steve Burns' paranoia about this case getting tighter. William Friedkin, though, said that he was rather disappointed with Pacino's performance at the time, but he's warmed up to it, though he still believes that Richard Gere, who was his original option, would have been a better choice.
Is there part of you that thinks that you wish that it had been Richard Gere?
Yes, of course.
One of Friedkin's friends on the police force, Detective Randy Jurgensen, who plays Detective Lafransky, has a role in the film and was the real inspiration for Steve Burns. He's the cop who went undercover trying to catch the real killer, and he told Friedkin that the work made him question his own sexuality. Sonny Grasso, who plays one of the detectives, revealed through the entire production he didn't see a single crack from Friedkin. And hey, perhaps he could have went home and screamed at the top of his lungs in the bathtub, but on the set and while they were working and having meetings, he was completely stoic. My thing is, look, I mean, some people might disagree. That's okay. It could be worse. It could be worse. They could have just pulled something out their ass. They could have created a narrative about the gay community. They could have gotten a bunch of straight extras. They didn't have to actually use extras who were actually attendees of these places and these bars. But over top of all of that, like, William said that him and the producers actually went out in public to these bars to see what it was like for themselves. I don't know, there was some experience, and there was thought put in there. I don't think that this is being insensitive. I don't know. William makes an extremely valid point, saying that he didn't go into this project to create a statement or a narrative about the leather world. He went into this with a documentary style camera. He filmed what he saw, because nowhere in the film is it trying to tell you how to feel about this world. You are simply observing, a spectator. You're not told that this or that is immoral or moral. Cruising's visual aesthetic and style is so tasteful to me. The sense of danger and secrecy soaked inside this dark nocturnal world, the deep blues, the contrast between light and dark. And speaking of, the director of photography, James Cotner, tried convincing William to shoot the entire film in black and white. Oh, I would have lived for that. Matter of fact, as expensive as this goddamn Blu-ray was, they should have added a version of the film that was in complete black and white. That would have. Hey, if you have been around on this channel, y'all know I am not one to defend some straight middle-aged white man, but look, I mean, you know, I'll say this again. While I do understand where the outrage is coming from, I think this film is fantastic. I do. Is it perfect? No, but I love it. The final word on Cruising isn't who was the killer, but more about what this experience did to this detective. This is not some police procedural, but an engineered psychological vortex. A tale on leaving a bubble, a safe space, and entering a foreign land. Because what is the cost of confrontation with the repressed self? This film operates as a relentless, visceral allegory where sexual repression metastasizes into murder, and the pursuit of a crime becomes the undoing of an identity. In the final frame, Pacino's silence forces us to occupy his terror, the terror that the uniform of social conformity is no match for the anarchic force of desire. It leaves us with the chilling realization that the investigation was never about finding a killer, but maybe it was about creating one. What is your take on Al Pacino's 1980 thriller Cruising? Do you find it exploitative? Do you think that we being a little dramatic here? Drop me a comment down below. I would love to hear your opinion. If you're new here, give your man a like. It helps me out a lot. Consider subscribing if I seem like your type of homie. And if you're feeling extra froggy, turn on that bell notification so you don't miss a new video. Turn on that bell notification so you don't miss a new video. And in the meantime, my friends, take care of your mind, take care of your body, and take care of your spirit.